Hi everyone, and welcome to the Gnome. I know it's been about a week since the last video, which I think maybe the Walking Dead one, but I've been busy. So I'm back with one of my famous late reviews, and the film I'm going to be reviewing now is the amazing Spider-Man that was released a couple of years back, directed by Mark Webb and starring Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker and Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy. I've been avoiding this film, to be honest, as I didn't hear very good things about it. Heard it was a bit pap. So, imagine my surprise when I actually got around to watch it a couple of nights ago that I really enjoyed it. Now, believe it or not, I'm a big Spider-Man fan. I know, who would have thought? Nerdy kid at school, gets superpowers, becomes fun, quipping hero that gets the girl. No idea why I would find that so interesting. But I do really like Spider-Man, and basically because he's an everyman, and he goes through a lot of the kind of similar problems that kids that age do go through. He's not Batman, who's a billionaire. He's not Superman, who's got all the powers in the world. He's a very kind of human character because he's kind of from the Marvel stead. If we compared that to like a DC character, there probably isn't an equivalent one because they're all superpowered gods. So to open this, I'd like to first of all discuss the biggest flaw with the film, and it's something that gets fundamentally wrong. It's not often that these type of films, especially these days, get the fundamental core actually wrong. And to not have the speech of, with great power comes great responsibility, seems an odd and almost baffling choice. It's 4 words that describe the very ethos of this character. That when he first gets powers, he's a little pain in the arse with them, but he soon learns, with the death of Uncle Ben, spoilers for 60 years ago, that the great power that he has, he must use it for good. And it's everything that the character has been built on since. It's 4 words, and there isn't much better kind of way of describing a character. There's very few characters really across the whole sort of human universe that can be distilled to just 4 words. And they don't include it. They include some other rambling speech that touches on the topic, but they don't include, with great power comes great responsibility. And I just find that baffling, to be honest. I really do. The speech that they do have, you could just include it there. There's nothing lost by not having. There's nothing lost with putting it in. There's nothing gained by not having it in. It just doesn't stand out. It hasn't got that beautiful narrowness of exactly what this entire character stands for. It would be like having a Batman film where he's not a billionaire. His parents don't die at the hands of a criminal, and he doesn't then swear against revenge. Doesn't then swear vengeance against crime. It would be like having a Superman film where he wasn't the last son of Krypton, and he wasn't picked up by kindly parents, although we might get that a little bit with the Man of Steel. So that's my kind of biggest concern, is that they kind of miss that core fundamental aspect of the character. Now, going on to the positives, Andrew Garfield's really good as a British actor, because everything has to be a British actor these days, i.e. Superman and also Batman. I'm really going to use those 3 as kind of my regular examples, as you clearly already have done. Emma Stone is super fit. She's a good actress. It's weird that she's naturally blonde, but doesn't seem as though she suits it. She looks much better with the red hair, but she pulls it off. She's pretty fit. Reese Fans is a big miss for me, I'm afraid, that he's not a very good actor, and the CGI work to make him the Lizard doesn't look very good. In the world where Lord of the Rings was some time ago, and Gollum has done so well, it's a little bit dodgy that the character of the Lizard looks so poorly now. I think it was released in 2010, even maybe 2011. We should be expecting better CGI than that. What is good is that the first time since any of the Sam Raimi films, we've actually got a quipping, kind of fun Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire also played a kind of downcast, even when he's in the suit, that you had no kind of like fun quips, kind of bantering with the villains. and it's nice to actually see we get this. There's a nice scene in the school where Spider-Man's attacking the lizard, and there's just some nice kind of playful back and forth from Spider-Man against the lizard, and it's what the kind of comic's been built on. That he's a shy, nervous kid when he's got the mask off, but when he puts the mask on, he could be anyone, and he's kind of relieved of that weight of expectation, and then he can go out and basically do what he does best. Have fun, but then save the day. What I also really like is that they were really clever with the way they've used the webs. Sure, I'm not a big fan of the mechanical webs. I really don't think it makes sense that this kid in Queens, no matter how gifted a scientist is, manages to develop a web shooting mechanism that can be turned on and off just with a button. Not a big fan of that. I think the natural web shooters just kind of suits a bit better. But with them having webs, either natural or mechanical, the things he does with them are really clever. He uses them for kind of moving from location to location, not just web swinging, but also as a kind of reverse bungee jump. He uses them to skim underneath the lizard, also then kind of webbing people up. It was a really creative use of what you can actually do with webs, and I hope to see that more in the sequel, which is also being filmed right now. So that stuff I really like. Costume, wasn't overly fond of looking at the posters, but really once the film gets going, it's not really a concern, to be honest. If we can believe that he can make web shooters, we believe he could make a costume himself out of that. Although I'm not sure if we can believe that Peter Parker would use Bing. Clearly he's a Google man. A couple of bits that seem a bit weird is the first person perspective bits. Yes, I've probably all played Mirror's Edge and it looks nice, and it seemed alright for the trailer, but it just seemed a little bit out of place going full CGI, first person perspective. It's not quite there yet. It was kind of very clear when it was going into the CGI stuff, and really it kind of took me a little bit out of it. Also, nearly forgot, stupid crane scene at the end. Yes, I get it, you want to show that people like Spider-Man now, great. Do you really need to do it by getting all of the cranes in New York City to be lining up so you can web swing his way? Just seems a bit wanky. It's about as wanky as the vast majority of all the stuff that happens in the Sam Raimi films. And I like the Sam Raimi films. Spider-Man 1 and 2 are excellent. Obviously, we don't talk about Spider-Man 3. But especially Spider-Man 2 is about the perfect Spider-Man film you're going to get. Doc Ock's a great villain. It's a nice arc of him losing his powers. It was a really good, complete film. What we probably didn't need out of The Amazing Spider-Man is another telling of the origin. And that's one of the other reasons why I wasn't particularly interested in this film. I was hoping to see kind of a more grown-up Spider-Man. I want to kind of run about my own age. Maybe it's a bit wish fulfillment. But then, again, there's enough stories to pick on there. Do we really need to see him back at school? And it turns out yes, because that's the age group that goes to cinema, so that's the age group. We must make Spider-Man. Now we've got successful films such as the Batman, Iron Man franchises where we've got more older hero. It'd be nice just if they took the Spider-Man story from a different part of his life. But mid to late 20s, early 30s, still struggling to get along, and just give him kind of a different perspective rather than, ooh, I've got to get my school work done on time. Ooh, I've got to make sure I bring eggs home to my aunt. Not a huge fan of that, to be honest. I just hope they kind of move the character along. It is a complete reboot. Whereas the first Spider-Man film was, I think, 2001. It's been 10 years since the first one. Oh, let's reboot it, start again. But it's not made that bad because Andrew Garfield does a fantastic job with it. Yeah, his hair's all bollocks, and he doesn't really ever seem like a kind of loner. He's quite a handsome chap. But he does well, and he gets kind of both sides as good as he can. And Emma Stone is, as I said, super fit. So it's not a huge crisis that we've got another reboot Spider-Man based in school. I would hope that they would have took maybe Christopher Nolan's idea. No, don't make him a super killing ninja. But if you're going to redo the origin, change a couple of things. Maybe do it a slightly different way. Give a reason to show a new origin if that's where you're going to be basing the rest of the film on. Don't just make it the same. And The one thing they did change is the one fundamental part of it. Even Nolan kept the fact that Batman's parents got shot, because that's the key part of the character. Everything else you can change. It's malleable. You can do a little bit differently. Whereas you shouldn't really be ignoring with great power comes great responsibility. The fight scenes between the Lizard and Spider-Man are done really well. Obviously all CGI, but there's not really much you can do. The fight scene on the bridge I thought was pretty cool. There's some nice scenes, obviously with webbing, fighting, ripping apart. I think probably the biggest concern or big problem with the Amazing Spider-Man is just it's so very generic. It's by the numbers. It feels like it's had 10, 15 different writers having a go at it. And overall, it just seems bland. But again, I don't really want to harken back too much, but going back to Iron Man, that felt fresh. The vast majority down to Robert Downey Jr.'s delivery, but it just seemed like it had a spark. Even the Avengers with Whedon's dialogue, it had a spark that really weren't seeing in much other films. This just seems a very much by the numbers studio retread because they needed to get a film out before they lost the rights, which, spoiler alert, was the case. So I think that a lot more work could be done. Hopefully they're going to be putting this extra work into the new one, because I'd hate to see them kind of throw away the interesting cast that they've got with Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone to just another by the numbers bog standard superhero film. So kind of really listening back now, it seems I'm a lot more negative than I kind of mean to be. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. One big fundamental flaw and a couple of just generic normal Hollywood rubbish kind of dampened some of the entertainment, but for first film, it wasn't too bad. It's something I'd hopefully would find a lot better now in 2011, as we're kind of onto maybe the second generation of good superhero films. They don't have to be so slavishly kind of plotted, so sort generically plotted as they have been. So hopefully maybe with the second one, they'll be stretch a bit more, go a little bit differently. So let me know if you enjoyed The Amazing Spider-Man. I would probably rank it joint second with the first Spider-Man film. Spider-Man 2 is immense. Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, and then link it on the same level as The Amazing Spider-Man. Hopefully the new Spider-Man will be called The Spectacular Spider-Man, because that'd be really cool as a kind of nerdy way. It seems as though they're going that way, as Dr. Kirk Connors during the film specifically says spectacular, which made me have a little giggle. And also the Stan Lee cameo is immense. The Lizard and Spider-Man are fighting in a library whilst Stan Lee is stamping books and stuff. And there's a really cool kind of kinetic action scene in that going on in the background where the Lizard throws the table at the unbeknownst Stan Lee, and Spider-Man just rescues it in time, pulls it back. It was just a really nice, fun action scene. And hoping to see more in the new film. So cheers everyone for watching. Let us know what your favourite Spider-Man film is, what your favourite superhero film is. Any comments, good or bad. And cheers. Good night.